Sessions and Lessons Unscripted.
Let's go.
And now your hosts, Joel and Gloria Rosario.
Welcome once again. This is Joel Rosario, host of Sessions and Lessons Unscripted. Okay, we gotta come up with a better intro. We should have a contest and see who anyone out there gotta come up with like taglines and an intro.
It's gonna be silent because we only have 2 listeners.
We'll combine the sentences from the two, and we gotta, All right, hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. Right across from me here is the wonderful, no need for words. Well, mainly because I can't think that fast. Kind of. It's Gloria Rosario, everybody.
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Hi, Gloria.
Hello.
Well, I was going to say I see you every day, which technically I do, but
Technically
lately you've been in and out of the house a lot more.
I am but a memory.
More out than in.
Yeah. A lot of stuff going on, but life,
Yeah, life happens. It's, I don't have much to report. I mean, I know there's a lot going on with your side of the camp. So, I know we had kind of talked about it before, but your grandmother got hospitalized and she's actually still in there. But from what it sounds like, she's improving, which is good.
Yeah, my grandmother has this, I guess, thing of keeping us on our toes.
Yeah.
And it's a yearly thing. Every year, we end up in the hospital for a few weeks. And this year, the only difference is that it happened in the summer, because it usually happens between
like the fall,
like
winter.
Christmas time.
Yeah.
If you've noticed around that time. But thankfully she's doing better. I don't want to say she's fully out of the woods yet, but definitely we're holding on to hope, and the hope looks good.
Well, yeah, everything looks on the up and up, so at least it's going in the right direction.
Yeah, but we have to be kind of realistic and keep our heads on the ground. But any good news is welcome news.
I think that's important, right? Because you got to be realistic about stuff. Because you got to kind of read the room,
Right, and with me having worked with the elderly and sickly people, I'm always on flight mode. Like, I don't know if you've noticed, today's probably the first day that I actually laid down and took a nap.
Yeah, you did.
It's just been, if I'm go all the time, this past week has been just...
You have been looking very worn out by the time you get home.
I am still, if we didn't have a lot of stuff to do, I would have probably not gotten up at all. I probably would have stayed sleeping, but
I mean, you're remaining, pretty positive and stuff, so it's like...
Well, I kind of have to at this point. I've been with her we were doing the math, and it's between 14 to 15 years that I've been kind of with her. So for me, it's hard, but again, because I have medical experience and I've worked with sickly people, I'm a little bit more prepared and in flight mode, and, because I have to be level-headed and clear-headed to kind of...
Well, you're kind of the glue that's holding everything together.
Well, I don't like to think of myself as that, or,
Well, they depend on you a lot.
Yeah, I mean, again, when you've been with someone for 14 years, I notice everything. If my grandmother blinks weird or even sniffles a little bit, right away I pick up on it. So, my families come together as much as we can, because some of us are out of the state and even out of the country.
Right.
But we're doing good. We're chugging along. Like I said, hopefully we bring her home. That's my highest hope, but I have to be realistic. In the back of my mind, I have to kind of, like you said, read the room, Yeah,
well, I'm glad that things are working out and going in the right direction. And So like, quick question, kind of a pop quiz.
Mhm.
What kind of things are you doing to kind of keep your head in the game, as it were? What would you say is kind of keeping your head above water?
I don't want to sound like I'm a doctor or like a surgeon or anything, but you know what I mean?
We are not professionals, by the way.
No, but I'm kind of I've had training in how to detach myself.
Mhm.
And the craziest thing, I was having a conversation with, I don't know who I was talking to, but I am so detached from the situation. I'm aware. Like, of course, I don't want anything bad to happen or to go wrong.
Of course.
But I think my first line of defense is that training that I have had,
Mhm.
you kind of learn to distance yourself while still caring.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so that's what I see it as. I mean, of course, she's my grandmother.
Right.
But it's different.
Like, basically, you have to have like some sort of like professionalism about it, like kind of uh what's the word I'm looking for? You have to impartial. I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for. I took completely understand what you're saying though,
Yeah,
because I mean, like, say, especially in the healthcare industry, you can't really. I mean, you can show emotion, I
of
guess, but
course,
you
we're
have to
humans,
kind of
right?
remain professional about it. You know
I'm
what I mean?
neutral.
Right. Right. Right.
And of course, we've talked about this, and this might kind of lead us into our subject for today,
Which is what
grief.
grief.
Yes.
Right.
So I have been like I'm explaining to you right now, I've been in flight mode for like the last week.
Right.
This is probably the most relaxed I've been, and I'm still tense. That's the crazy part.
Well, it's
Right.
natural, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
But you know, I've been waking up at like 1 or 2 in the morning, and I have to be up and functioning in the morning earlier. So
Yeah, earlier than usual.
my sleeping's off and all of that, but I haven't had that moment. Well, I don't think we talked about it last night because I was so tired when I came home.
Right.
Um, I actually broke down in front of someone, in one of my aunts, actually. I broke down. And I hadn't cried in front of anybody in my family. Like,
Mm.
this is the first time, and it's gonna sound weird, but this is the first time that I've actually been emotionally vulnerable with somebody in my family like that. Not my cousins, not my brother, but I'm talking about like the older
And you know what?
generation.
You're entitled.
Of
You
course.
can do that.
Of course.
Mm.
And we were talking, and she said something, and it kind of made me cry. But it wasn't like a negative that she said. It was just, I've been so detached that, because someone has to be level-headed and clear thinking. And because I'm the one with her most of the time,
Hmm.
unfortunately, it falls on me, and it just, she said something, and it completely like broke me. Like, I felt like my soul had kind of like lost a piece of something, because
Right.
how I was feeling was acknowledged,
Right.
because it was, again, this magical word triggered, something she said kind of, pushed me to kind of open up.
Hmm.
And I was talking, and all of a sudden, like, I broke down.
And I don't mean to kind of cut you off, but I think that's, I mean, lack of a better term, the universe's way, or God, or whatever, a higher power out there. That was that was a way of kind of cleansing you and opening you up, I guess.
Yeah, because
It was something you needed.
I was super sad, and I'm still kind of sad. The situation, my grandmother's 89.
Mhm.
She's been on this world in this world for 89 years. You know, and it's difficult we've talked about this. It's difficult to see someone
That you love.
that you love, that anybody loves,
Mm.
in that situation where there's a balance of, if they're going to come home, or if this is the last time, you're going to get to be with them.
All right.
And I am not the best person at expressing emotions. You know me. I'm either super happy and bouncing off the walls, or I'm very quiet and I shut down, and it's like that's my way of just, trying to regulate myself.
Right.
And there is no in between for me. It's either that or I'm mad. Those are my emotions, and I'm not the best communicator, or I'm not the best at communicating my feelings, because we've talked about this before in the past, how because we come from a Latino background, you're Puerto Rican and, my family's from Mexico. We're not taught, but it's like it's ingrained in us and engraved
Yeah.
that we have to be strong, and
Showing emotions is not
it's a sign of weakness.
Yeah.
Yeah. As Latinos, we joke around a lot about, death and dying and being, we have a day to celebrate death. That tells you how much we embrace death, and
Well, I mean, depending on how some people look at it, like death isn't really, it's not really a sad thing. It's like a celebrating. You would celebrate it
Right.
because
And my aunt that was, having this conversation with me is, and I know this, but it kind of, I felt seen, like she understood where I was coming from, My grandmother has had a long,
now, not to put you on the spot, but do you feel like you haven't been seen or are not seen most of the time?
I think so. I'm not particularly close with a lot of people in my family. We're just different. My family, and again, I don't like to bring up religion, but religion is a big part in the decisions,
The Latin culture
and the decisions that have been made for my grandmother. A lot of people in my family are Jehovah's Witness. I am not. There is no, like, I've never really been a religious person, and I've never really followed any religion.
Right.
It was more not. It was forced on us. You're a kid. You are taken to whatever. So I never really was close to them because I always felt like I had nothing in common with them. And it's like, I'm a worldly person. Like,
You're a heathen.
I'm a heathen. I cuss. I like to, I used to, drink and do drugs and party. And that's kind of like not the vibe.
That was our life, man. We were in church constantly, which in a way, I mean, good on my parents. I mean, they were trying to live right and teach their boys right and stuff. I mean, it's fine,
Right.
But good, man, were we in church a lot? Maybe.
And that's what I'm saying. And I never felt like I belonged there. So I never tried making friends. I always isolated myself. So that followed into adulthood. Plus, like I said, I had a very short temper growing up.
Right.
And I kind of distanced myself, to tell you that I haven't been to my aunt's house in years until my grandmother got sick last year.
Right.
And all of a sudden I'm dealing with everybody and seeing people and, seeing cousins that I haven't seen in a really long time. And it's just like, okay, I have to be an adult about this. Whatever has happened in the past, we kind of have to put aside for now, and then we'll revisit things later,
Right. Sounds to me like you were going through not only the normal definition of grief or grieving, but going through other sorts of grief with your family here and there, with because it's also it means trouble or annoyance. So
it has, but it's also brought a lot of healing, and I guess, obviously my mentality was a lot different when I was younger.
Right.
And you know me, and we've talked about this, and I've said this. I have always been bullheaded and very, like, closed off, and these are my emotions, these are my feelings. It's none of your business how I'm feeling. And, So for me, it's very hard to open up and to grieve and to cry in front of people. Like I have, don't get me wrong, but in this instance, with everything that's going on with my grandmother, it's been a hard process because, like I said, I have to keep level-headed.
Right.
I have to keep a strong face when I'm talking to my mom, when I'm talking to my aunt, when I'm saying something to my grandma's sister. I have to,
Yeah.
and it's the level of compassion and the medical training that I've had, like within distancing myself from situations, that has made this easy. It's hard, but it's also kind of been like a healing process, at least for me. And that's good.
Right.
I'm not saying that I'm gonna have coffee with people and all of a sudden start hanging out, but I've always kind of put my
But you've kind of been
right.
through this process a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, not a little bit, but been through this process kind of before when you had another family member, actually her husband, when he had passed away. How long ago was that?
Um.
Your grandfather.
Oh, my grandfather. Um. Oh boy, that was such a long time ago. Maybe 17 years at this point
Mm-hmm.
that he passed away.
How long? So you said it was about 17 years ago?
About give or take now. I don't remember exactly, but
So how was that when all of that went down? Because I know you were just mentioning how you kind of hide your feelings and kind of like grieve in silence and stuff like that. How did that go back then?
oh, that uh, when my grandfather passed away, it was so much different than what my what's happening with my grandmother now.
Okay.
My grandfather was always think of a cowboy in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
Horses,
He
stable,
was like a man's man.
man's man, and he really was.
Right. Tough guy.
Tough guy.
Yeah.
Gentlest person you will ever meet,
Right.
but tough, like
Mm-hmm.
rugged and just put together.
Right.
And when he passed away super quick. He had been out in the fields and, working with the horses and all that. And then he came home, sat down, asked my grandmother for a glass of water, and he hit the floor.
Mm.
By the time he passed away, like there was no saving him. So we didn't get to see the process of, someone passing on.
Right.
So when they called me to tell me about my grandfather and, when he passed away, I misunderstood everything because around that time my grandmother had surgery, like a major surgery, and her heart had taken a hit. And I thought it was my grandmother. And the uncle who called me was like, "No, Gloria, it's your grandfather."
Wow.
And when he said that, that hit me like a ton of bricks.
Mm.
I knew something was up, and I wasn't wrong. And he passed on. I didn't get to see him anymore.
So that was you haven't seen it? Did you see him before that, or how long was it
It had
before?
been a couple of years since I had seen him at that point.
Have you talked to him, like, say, on the phone or anything, or?
Not so much on the phone. I don't remember. My timing might be off because this was such a long time ago, but
Right.
they used to come every 2 or 3 years and just kind of hang out with us
Visit?
and to visit. So I would say maybe it had been like about a year and a half, almost 2 years since I had seen him.
Mm.
So that was the last time I saw him. I never got to, have a conversation with him. It was just he was tight. He
Just
was
gone.
torn. He was gone. Like that was it.
Yeah.
And this is different because we're actually seeing the process of someone potentially passing on.
Right.
So it's completely different. The grieving for my grandfather, I remember I couldn't keep it together. That was the first major loss that I've had in my life. Before that, I hadn't experienced somebody I had considered my father. Well, not so much my father, but because my father wasn't around, that was the man figure that I had.
Yeah.
And he was a man's man, So, I was always closer to him because I was older than all of my cousins. I was the old. I am the oldest one.
Right.
So I had conversations that they had never even had with him. Uh, I have so many stories about my grandfather, and it's back then I wasn't really too close to my grandmother, because again, her religion, and I was
Well, you were more close to your grandfather.
yeah, I was definitely a lot closer. Like I loved my grandma. Like I have so many stories about my grandmother too.
Hmm.
But when I think about my childhood, like you know, my core memories are with my grandfather.
Right.
I have core memories with my grandmother, her making tortillas and her cooking and all those memories are like wonderful and,
Right.
nostalgic for me. But when I think of my grandfather, that hurts still. And that's the thing about grieving is we don't it never goes away. Like it's always there.
So, in your opinion, grieving never goes away, or
It gets easier to deal with and you kind of come to terms with it.
mm,
But there are days still today when I hear a song or I think about Mexico or a childhood memory pops up
mm.
that I think about my grandfather and I start to cry because I miss him,
You brought up something that was pretty interesting that
Hmm.
just kind of, that struck me just now about how when your grandfather passed away, you guys, I mean, it was so sudden and unexpected. You didn't, like, the grieving process was different because now you're kind of seeing someone who's ill and
Hmm.
going kind of through that stage.
Right,
And you guys are, for lack of a better term, kind of preparing yourselves to deal or grieve with this, issue.
right. We're dealing with the potential.
Right. And
We don't
that's,
know, and that's the hardest part.
but that's what I mean is
Yeah,
like two kind of opposites because with your grandfather it was so sudden and it was just a surprise and a shock, and now you're kind of being led up to that point, but you're going along the steps.
right,
I know in my case was very similar to that.
right. I've never asked you like how did you grieve the loss of your first wife? Because losing a family member is a lot different than losing, you know, your significant other.
Well, it is what it isn't. I
Right.
mean, you're still losing someone that you love.
Right.
Um, but how I grieved, well, honestly, and this is probably not a surprise to anyone out there, especially anyone out there that's lost someone, shock. I mean, shock's the first thing, right? And then uh, you have shock. There's like doubts, like, what am I going to do now? I'm alone. You just, there a million things go through your head.
Right.
Me personally, I really shut down for the most part at first. This happened what, about 10 years ago, I would say.
About.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's no matter what you do, and I don't know if anyone out there listening kind of relates to this, and Gloria, you can kind of chime in too, but you're never prepared even after you
No.
prepare.
Right.
So I knew it was coming, but it happened, and it was just like you're still shocked, you're still, not ready for it.
Right.
But I know I kind of withdrew. I mean, like I don't drink or smoke or anything, so I kind of like leaned on the eating thing, and then it's funny, not funny, but I was always a collector and uh things like that. But there's like I think there's somewhat of an addictive quality in my bloodline, for whatever lack of term, a better term. So I would uh like start just picking random things, and then I'd just involve myself in it and try. I don't know if it was my way of trying to forget stuff or just moving on or whatever. Um but yeah, I mean, you're never prepared.
No, of course not, because, you know,
And everyone grieves differently.
right. That's what I was going to
There's
say.
no right or wrong way.
Like, me, I'm going to admit to something, and I've told you. I know I'm stressed out and trying to deal with a bunch of emotions because I have not I don't want to say I haven't stopped eating, but I've been eating a lot more than I have been used to in the last
Oh yeah, you've
6
been
months.
telling me, yeah.
You know, I'm a stress eater, and right now, like, I cannot find a way to, like, regulate myself.
Hmm.
So, I mean, I have a doctor's appointment coming up, and I'm gonna bring it up, like, can you guys kind of help me out here?
Right,
I'm really struggling with stress and, you know, depression almost,
right,
Um, that's another thing. You have to speak up about, like, any feelings that you're going through that are negative. Um, you have to be open and be honest with yourself.
right.
It's not an excuse that, oh, this is why I'm snacking a little more. That is why I'm snacking. I know why, because those are my behavior patterns. And, you know, um, that's my way of dealing with stress. I don't want to eat carrot sticks when, who wants to eat a
Yeah,
salad? I
exactly.
say this all the time. Who reaches for a salad when they're stressed out?
Yeah,
I don't know anybody, I don't care how healthy you are.
that
Um,
slice of pizza looks pretty good right now.
and that's the thing, it's not even pizza, it's just anything that I can kind of
Keep you occupied and forget
occupy,
stuff,
you
yeah.
know what I mean? And we're Latinos and we love to eat. Like,
Mm.
I was joking with my mom and her sisters and my uncle the other day. Like, we're all gonna leave here like 10 to 15 pounds heavier,
Right.
because that's what we do.
Well, it's kind of ironic. I know when I was going through that stuff with in the hospitals and death looming and stuff like that, I was losing weight big time. Of course, because I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't eating, I was dropping weight like crazy.
Right,
Um, I think afterwards is when it started kind of picking up again.
right,
And like I said, everyone grieves differently. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. Some people, it's, kind of quick, and for some people, it's a little bit longer. But I mean, there's ways to cope and deal with it. Like, I mean, first of all, you have to give yourself permission to grieve. It's normal,
well,
right?
I was reading earlier that there are 5 stages to grieving,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
We kind of already kind of hit them.
Yeah, but everyone's different. Everyone will go through it differently, right?
But typically this is, and I'm kind of like looking at it right now, and it's exactly what I've gone through and what I'm going, and exactly what we're talking about right now. So the first one is denial, right?
Right.
The second one is anger.
Mm, didn't I'm trying to think if I went through anger.
I went through anger.
I don't
I
think I
did.
did.
I have gone through anger.
Uh,
Again, I don't take it out on people because I internalize things.
yeah.
The next one is bargaining. You know, have you ever been to that or no?
What?
Through bargaining.
I don't know. Nah, I don't think so.
Bargaining in this sense would mean like, oh, if you, this is more, I guess, of a religious thing. Like, oh, if you make it through, I'll never do this.
Oh no, I
Or
didn't. I
no,
didn't do
that's
that.
bargaining. Again, people grieve differently.
Right.
These are typically what people go through. I haven't gone through bargaining.
Hmm.
Depression,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
You
Yep,
get through
absolutely.
depression, and I just said
Oh yeah.
I am leaning towards depression.
Hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
and then the final step is acceptance.
Yes.
Kind of go with it. I just
Oh yeah. I mean,
accept it.
really, what can you do? I mean, once someone's gone, they're gone. You can't bring
Right?
them back.
No, and the things is like my aunt when we were talking had made a good point. She's not going to be in pain anymore.
Right.
The dementia isn't going to have an effect on her anymore. The Alzheimer's isn't going to affect her anymore.
Right.
She'll be at peace.
Right.
And that kind of brought me a little, like, not that I didn't know it.
It's
Obviously, I
like
do.
it's a positive, but I mean, not
Not really.
positive. Yeah, because you're kind of like, yeah, you won't be suffering anymore, but yeah, you won't be here.
Right. And
Yeah.
it's like, you know, I I'm not prepared, but I am prepared.
Right.
But you're never prepared.
No, you're never prepared. No.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like you could
But
tell,
but see, that's another thing. You gotta like not suppress your emotion,
right?
and then understand that everyone grieves differently. It's not a There's
not
no
a universal
textbook.
thing.
No, it's
No.
not a textbook thing to grieve.
Some people go through all 5 steps, some people don't. It's
Yeah,
just,
I don't think I can honestly say I don't think I went through all 5 steps.
well, I went through denial, anger,
Mhm.
depression, and I'm working towards acceptance.
With me, I think I bypassed 2 of the 5, and depression got upped into instead of 10 and went up to 12.
Right.
So, yeah, I got what I lacked on the couple of them, I gained on the other ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard, but like I said, and like I
Time does heal wounds, people.
Of
It really
course.
does.
Yes, I don't feel the same way. Well, of course I miss my grandfather, and like when we got married, I kept thinking like, "Aw, he's not here."
Oh, he was watching, I'm sure.
You know.
He was there.
Yeah. But my grandmother was.
Mm.
And
Yeah, which was kind of a big deal, right? When we were planning all of this, we wanted to make sure your grandma made
that
it.
was my
Yeah,
number one thing.
yeah.
Which
I thought was so great. Like, we took pictures with her, and now we have.
And see, that's the
Yeah.
thing about me being with my grandmother. She might not be here 100% mentally.
Mm.
She has her moments, but
I'm sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but there was a funny thing she said to you one time, right? About being married, or you went to a wedding, and she's like, "When are you getting married?"
yeah, we were talking about weddings, and she's like, "When are you gonna get married?" I was like, "Sweetheart, you were at the wedding. I promise you had
Yeah, but
lots
there
of
was
cake."
another instance you were telling me about where she kind of took a dig at you because you weren't getting married or you were still single or something like
Mhm.
that. I don't remember what the story was, but it was kind of
I
funny.
kind of remember, but I kind of
Yeah.
don't. My brain is working. If it's slow on a regular basis right now, it's like molasses. It's in a different time zone.
Right.
But and I don't know. This is gonna come off wrong, but maybe not wrong. I don't care. Um, I am actually the only granddaughter
Mhm.
of her grandchildren to have her in a wedding picture.
Wow.
There is no other wedding pictures with my grandmother. Well, there are, but I'm talking like recent from like the cousins and the nieces and the nephews.
Mhm.
I think I am the only one that has a picture
Mm.
with her with that. And that was so important to me.
Right.
That was so important. If my grandfather had been alive, that would have been important to me as well, to have a picture with both of them.
Right.
And, I hold on to that picture like dear life, Um, I have said this before, but for me, my grandmother is more than work, and she's more than a job. She's my grandmother. And it's hard to kind of put it into words, but for me, it's been, I guess, an honor to take care of her for as long as I have.
Mhm.
I never did it because of the money, obviously. When I'm not rolling in riches,
Yeah.
I get paid just as much as, any other medical person that works in the same field, but I never did it for the money. I never did it to, for any gain or anything like that. I'm the type of person that if I don't want to do it, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
So the fact that I've been with my grandmother for this long is something that I want to do. There's no other place where I would rather be than to be with her.
Mhm.
And that's kind of, a comfort to me
Right.
in this whole process of like grieving and just, trying to figure life out,
So, speaking of comfort and grieving, what did you do personally what got you through it? Like, what steps did you take? I know for myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I mean, this is kind of, I mean, it's like I said, it's not textbook or whatever, but like, I mean, of course, you gotta have self care. You gotta, worry about yourself. You gotta establish routines. Get into, you know, keep in mind your mental and your physical health, and then keep yourself busy. I know I will, and this is kind of I don't know. You guys could tell me what you think about this, but I know when I went through my my wife's death, when I went back to work finally,
Hmm.
I know, I mean, everyone was offering their condolences and,
Right.
all that stuff. And
Yeah.
then my manager at the time took me in the office, and I thought it was very cool, because they were like, how are you? Are you okay? And kind of showing, they cared. And then something that kind of irked me, and I know the heart was in the right place.
Uh-huh.
Um, they were like, "Oh, just keep yourself busy and work more." And at the time, I didn't want to hear that.
That is such a manager thing to say.
Yeah, right. Like it's like, "Oh, I'm here for you," and blah blah blah. But
Yeah.
just keep working and just keep yourself busy that way. It's like, okay, I get what you're saying, right?
But shut up.
But shut up. I
Right.
don't want to hear that. Like, this is the last place I want to be right now.
Right.
Like, but whatever. The heart wasn't. I appreciated it. So if this gets to their ears somehow, I 100% appreciated it. It wasn't the wrong thing to say. I don't think the heart was in the right place, but you know how people are. It's like, I don't want to hear that right now.
Yeah.
But I know I started, of course, getting into like the RC thing and collecting things and
Right.
going back to my childhood stuff with like comic books and movies and all that kind of stuff. And a lot of that stuff kept me busy. And but it's a two-edged sword, right? Because I kind of touched on it before about having the addictive personality.
Right.
Then you start going kind of overboard with stuff. And then because I'm a weirdo, I'll be interested in something for about 5 minutes, lose interest, and then I'm stuck with all these freaking G.I. Joes.
Yeah.
Yes.
As we sit in a room with toys.
And just posters all over the place and just toys.
No,
But would you say you would did kind of the same thing, or like how
with my grandfather
when
or
when you dealt with grief?
yes and no. I started drinking a lot more, which probably wasn't the best thing to do.
Which that happens,
Right.
right?
Um, I don't know. I didn't grieve properly like I should have. And that has to do more with my maturity at the time.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's a good point. That's a good
right.
point.
Because during that time when my grandfather passed, I wasn't doing any sort of substances, but I was heavily drinking.
Mm-hmm.
So,
But then you leaned into it more when it happened.
yes.
Mm.
Yes, I did. It was difficult for me. So my solution was to drink, which wasn't the best of decisions,
Right.
But that's all I had at the
But it
moment.
happens. It happens.
But I mean, now as an adult, I know that there's so many different outlets. And I guess, like, I haven't really had time for a lot.
Right.
I haven't. I leave here at 6, 7 in the morning and I come back at 8, 9 o'clock at night. By that time, I don't want to talk.
Right.
I don't want to, I say hello to my pets.
But you know what? It's very important, guys out there in
Yeah.
Gloria, that you got to seek the support wherever you got it. And
Of
you know what?
course.
That saying hello to your animals and spending time with them is support. It's making you feel better, right?
Right.
But I mean, there's no shame in if you have to, go to a therapist or something to kind of deal with all of that. But the main thing is to seek support, and then also you got to kind of don't beat yourself up. Don't,
Oh, of course.
you know what I mean? Be
Yeah.
kind to yourself, and take as long as you need to. Like grief, there's no time limit.
Right.
Some people, like I said, they grieve for a couple weeks and they're starting to be okay. Some people, it takes years. I mean, everyone grieves differently.
Yeah, and the thing is like with the whole self-care thing, like, I haven't had time. Like, I don't even want to take care of myself right now, which sounds bad,
Oh, that's true.
but I realized this morning that I'm looking a little bit more haggard. Like,
I haven't noticed at all.
yes, you have. I know. I'm pretty sure. I was like, I put on pants because I have to, and it's illegal for me to walk around without any pants on,
I don't know how that we got there, but okay. Yeah, it's most people frown down on not wearing pants
Yes.
in public.
Why? So lame. But
Nobody wants to see this with no pants.
but you know what I'm saying? Like, I roll out of
You just
bed.
you don't have the effort to do anything.
I don't.
I get it. Yeah.
And I was looking at my pajamas today, like, oh man, I would really love to show up in just pajamas and gym shoes and just.
Wasn't that what most kids do nowadays? They just kind of roll out of bed and walk out to the Walmart.
Yeah, I mean,
They would have their bunny slippers, pajama pants, hair all messed up.
well, that's always been me, like, the OG right here of pajamas.
Yeah, not me. I'm freshly shaven, smelling good.
Well, I smell good and I bathe. Let me make that clear, okay?
Yeah, she's very clean. Well, kind of clean.
Well, unorganized and clean are two different things.
I guess her personal hygiene is on
point.
It's on point, so I'll give her that.
Yes.
Otherwise, yeah, not so much. I'm telling you, when I first met her, I was a neat freak, just things all lined up like a perfect.
So what's stopping you now?
I don't know.
Excuses. See, I am your excuse for being a pig.
Okay, I think that's where we're gonna end it. All right, guys. Yeah. So remember, if you guys are going through some kind of anything tough or a loss or anything, grieving's normal. Find somebody to talk to. Find things that make you happy and that you enjoy. It's normal. It's a normal thing. Take as much time as you need to. If you need to find professional help, go for it. And time does heal wounds. I know it's kind of a corny, like, oh, yeah, whatever,
Time heals all.
Yeah, the people will tell you, like, oh, the time heals all wounds. It's true, though, because I thought at one point it wasn't going to happen, but it does. There was times where it was very hard for me to discuss it, or I would just out of the blue just start crying or whatever. But then after a while, it was just like, okay, whatever. I just talk about it without that.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, yeah, and be kind to yourselves. Don't beat yourselves up. I mean, losing someone is it is part of life. It happens daily. So yeah, I mean, hopefully everything you guys grieve and find peace. So we'll end it there, guys. We weren't as goofy as we normally are, but
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just
no.
Yeah,
That's
tired.
fine. The two listeners out there, we're good.
we love all two of you.
We love both of you. All right, guys. So don't forget to visit the website, sessionsandlessonsunscripted.com. If you got any comments, you want to share any stories or anything, you want to tell us a joke, you want to send us a meme, whatever, email is sessionsandlessonsmail@gmail.com. And visit us on the socials, Facebook, TikTok, all that stuff. And just look us up, Sessions and Lessons. You could probably find it under my name, Joel Rosario. And yeah, it's you got anything to add, Gloria? Or
Not today. I'm kind of a little bit on the quiet side.
spay and neuter your animals?
Yeah, spay and neuter and all that.
And
Be good. Eat your vegetables.
don't eat the yellow snow.
Ew. Who's gonna be eating snow in like 90-degree weather? Come
Oh
on,
my
man.
God, it has been pretty bad.
It is so muggy.
It's very muggy. Yeah. Life in the good old Midwest.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening. Please spread the word. Let people know that we're here. We're trying to make this show us better and better as we go. So yeah, we really appreciate you. Truly, we do. We love all of you listening out there, and we will catch you on the next one.
Bye-bye.